Alright guys, today we have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and discuss. Before we dive into today's topics, if you could do me a big favor, if you do enjoy videos like this, or if by the end of it you found it informative, be sure to leave it a like. Really helps the videos out a ton. And be sure to hit the subscribe button as well if you are new here to the channel. The first topic we're talking about is something that I think is potentially a good sign for the amount of PlayStation 5s that Sony is producing. Hopefully this is the first sign that the supply constraint is maybe easing up just a little bit. So it says here, PS5 was the best-selling console in the US in September 2021, breaking a 33-week streak held by the Nintendo Switch. Something finally dethroned the Nintendo Switch as the best-selling console in the US for a month. Taking the top spot on the NPD charts, PS5 outsold Switch to become the best-selling console for September 2021, ending a 33-month streak for Nintendo's hybrid console handheld. NPD analyst Matt Piscatella shared the results via the September 2021 NPD report, which highlights PlayStation 5 taking the top spot for both dollar sales and units sold. The last time a console outsold the Switch in units was November of 2018, when the PS4 sat at the top of the charts. Piscatella also pointed out in multiple replies that the PS5's lead may have as much to do with the simple supply as much as anything else right now, and could have won the month just because Sony was able to feed more consoles into the market than Nintendo. After all, Nintendo was gearing up to launch the Switch OLED in October, which many presume will ensure Nintendo returns to the top spot on this month's NPD report. He's also pointed out that the video games market can be unpredictable and chaotic in the best of times, but currently everything is so chaotic that everyone knows that no one really knows what will happen next. And so I wanted to be sure to read that last part to you as well, because while this is potentially a good sign that PlayStation 5 stock is becoming more readily available, we do have to understand that the PS5 taking the top spot for September and dethroning the Nintendo Switch after a 33-month streak, which is very impressive for both Nintendo and Sony in this case. Sony managing to top it, and then Nintendo going that long, being in the #1 spot. It tells you that PS5s are selling, right? But again, we don't know if that's due to the fact that Sony was able to produce more units than usual, which I think could be a possibility. Or is it just because Nintendo produced less units than usual and Sony just simply was able to outproduce them? Either way, it's a good sign for the console market. I'm a PS5 owner. Playing console is my preferred way to enjoy video games, and I like to see it doing well. I don't really care too much about sales, like they don't impact my enjoyment of it, but it is nice to know that as somebody who supports this way of enjoying video games, that it's doing well, right? The PS5 is breaking records and the demand is through the roof, and it's seemingly not dying down whatsoever. And so the PS5 is back on top. We'll have to continue to watch this throughout the months to see if it remains on top or if it ends up kind of fighting for that spot with the Switch. I think if the PS5 does stay on top for months to come, then that's a clear sign, in my opinion, that Sony has found a way to dramatically increase the amount of units they can produce. Moving on to the next topic, this is an interesting one. PS5 faceplate maker now attempting to circumvent legal action from Sony with redesigned plates. And I have to admit, the redesigned plates look very interesting to me. Definitely a different design, and it almost leads me to believe that maybe if you were to pick up a pair of these plates, it would actually lead to more efficient cooling, or your console maybe remaining a little bit cooler. I could be wrong about that, but that's just kind of the impression I get when looking at this image. But it says here, infamous PlayStation 5 faceplate maker Dbrand has returned with redesigned dark plates in an attempt to circumvent legal action from Sony. Days after Dbrand called Sony terrorists for sending in a cease and desist letter, the company took to Reddit to unveil its new plates, arguing that since Sony specifically took issue with Dbrand using its patented design, there shouldn't be any further problems now that the faceplates have been redesigned. Dbrand also chastised media outlets that pointed out that it had dared Sony to sue, only to end up pulling its plates when threatened. Turns out the headline, "The company dares Sony to sue, folds when threatened with lawsuits," sparked quite the dialogue, wrote Dbrand. By creating a brand new design, Darkplates 2.0 successfully closes the loop on this dispute and neutralizes any future infringement claims from Sony. Dbrand acknowledged that Sony is unlikely to back down, but claims that the company has also no basis to sue for infringement anymore because Darkplate's design is original. If they want to try, they'd better be ready to pay our legal fees, Dbrand added. So, this is an ongoing thing with Dbrand, and I think it's actually kind of cool what they're doing here, to be honest. I know that some people find Dbrand's marketing a little bit cringe, and you can tell that they're doing all of this and being a little bit over the top to get the attention. You really can't blame them. But I look at this design and I like it. I like the fact that they are doing something more original, something more unique. If you were to buy these plates, your PS5 is going to look different. We're going to have to see if Sony ends up, wanting to continue to go after them. I don't see why they would. I just don't understand why Sony cares that much, but then again, I don't know. Maybe Sony has big plans for limited edition or special edition consoles, and they really feel that these, third-party manufacturers could potentially get in the way of that. That would be an understandable reason why they would do this. But as Dbrand points out here, it seems like Sony really wouldn't be able to. So I'll keep you guys updated. You can let me know what you think of this new faceplate design coming from Dbrand. Is that something you would be interested in, or do you just not like the look of it? Let me know. The next topic in line, Sony sells GSN Games, the studio focused on mobile and online casino games, for $1 billion. So it says here, Sony Pictures Entertainment has sold GSN Games to mobile studio Scopely for $1 billion, according to a press release. GSN Games holds a portfolio of free-to-play mobile and online casino games like Solitaire, TriPeaks, and Bingo Bash. Sony acquired GSN Games as part of Game Show Network in 2019. The company will receive half the money in cash and the remainder in the form of equity, which will grant Sony a minority interest in Scopely. This will apparently allow Sony to benefit from the expected growth of Scopely as well as the mobile games industry. And so this was something I just wanted to let you guys know about. I don't think it's really anything that is significant when it comes to PlayStation, but it was something that I saw making the headlines. I didn't even know what GSN Games was. And so there you go. I guess Sony owned them and they decided to sell them. And yeah, if you guys are familiar with this, or if you're aware of any further implications this may have on specifically the PlayStation division under Sony, maybe you can let me know down below. But next in line, we're talking once again about Dying Light, because it seems like a native PS5 version is right around the corner. Techland's original Dying Light has received a PS5 and Xbox Series X and S rating following last week's next-gen patch announcement. Last month, Techland announced the arrival of Dying Light on the Nintendo Switch via the Dying Light Platinum Edition. This edition, containing all of the game's DLCs and skin bundles, is releasing globally tomorrow, and interestingly, the game has now also received a rating for PS5 and Xbox Series. So this shouldn't come as a big surprise, because the Dying Light Twitter account did confirm that they are working on a next-gen patch, and it looks like they're going to be doing some type of, I assume it'll be a physical release, but it will likely be a digital release as well. And so we'll have to see if this is going to be like a free upgrade situation or not. But I know a lot of people are very excited for Dying Light 2. So if you haven't played the first one and you're looking forward to the sequel or the second one, and you have a PS5 or Xbox Series, there you go. This is something that I assume will be announced very soon. But next in line, we're talking about Call of Duty Vanguard's PS5 file size. I don't know how many people listening to this are planning to play this on their PS5, but in case you are, this is how much space it's going to take up on your SSD. So this comes from PlayStation Game Size, or at PlayStation Size on Twitter. Call of Duty Vanguard for PS5 download size 26.6 gigabytes without the day one patch. So we'll have to see if that day one patch ends up increasing the size of this somewhat significantly. So the preload begins on October 29th and the game is launching on November 5th. This is interesting to me because Call of Duty is kind of infamous at this point for just taking up so much space within a hard drive or your SSD. It's absurd. And so if you are somebody who wants to play Vanguard and that's all the space it's going to take up, assuming you don't want to play Warzone, you're just playing Vanguard, I mean, 26.6 gigabytes, that's pretty good. That's really not a lot of space being taken up at all. But again, we have to keep an eye on that day one patch. So let me know down below if you're planning on playing Call of Duty Vanguard. Next up, we're talking about The Witcher 3 because the PS5 and Xbox Series versions have also been rated, which means that we should be seeing an announcement of this soon. CD Projekt Red is still keeping quiet on a release date for the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S versions of critically acclaimed RPG The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, but the game could be closer to seeing the light of day than we think, as it's now been rated in Europe. Peggy has posted a rating for the PS5 and Xbox Series versions of the games, which likely means we'll be hearing more about them soon enough. And so, again, this is just another one of those situations where there's smoke, there's fire. Once you see a game getting rated, the announcement is pretty much imminent at that point. I don't know how many people are anticipating this. I don't know how many people are planning on picking up The Witcher 3, but I know it's a very popular game, very beloved game, and so it'll be nice to see it fully optimized for the PS5 and Xbox Series. So the final topic we have for this video has to do with Splinter Cell. I don't know how many people listening to this are fans of Splinter Cell, but what I do know is that anybody who is a fan of Splinter Cell has been feeling down for a while with the way Ubisoft has been treating the IP. So we have a report that says a new mainline Splinter Cell game has entered production. The reliable folks over at Video Games Chronicles, or VGC, claim to have heard from their sources that Ubisoft has finally greenlit a new mainline Splinter Cell game, which is reportedly in the early phases of production. According to VGC, Ubisoft expects to placate series fans who had been left frustrated by efforts to bring back Splinter Cell in mobile and virtual reality form. The publication wasn't able to confirm which Ubisoft studio is involved in the project, but has heard that it's not being developed at the Montreal studio. Ubisoft has declined to comment on VGC's report, and so that's pretty much what you need to know, is that right now a mainline Splinter Cell game has been greenlit and has entered production, and it seems like they're planning on trying to, I guess, bring back the fans that they have been really doing a good job in just kind of pushing away and upsetting them. We see how Sam Fisher and how the Splinter Cell IP has been treated in recent years, and it's been depressing to watch. And I even say this as somebody who's not even a huge Splinter Cell fan. Even I feel sorry for people who have been hoping for a new game. But what's interesting is, judging by the reaction I've seen on the internet with this, for as exciting as I should say that people want to be about this, they feel like they kind of have to hold back because they don't know if this is actually going to be a good Splinter Cell game. Looking at the way Ubisoft handles games these days, it leaves a lot of people just feeling very cautiously, I guess, optimistic, but a lot of people are just pessimistic and really are not they don't have any confidence whatsoever in Ubisoft at this point with the Splinter Cell game. But there you go. You know, if you are somebody who is a Splinter Cell fan, please let me know down in the comments below what you think of this report coming from VGC. It's not officially confirmed, but VGC's track record has been very good, and so this is very likely true. But that does it for the video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. If you did, again, be sure to leave it a like, leave your thoughts down in the comments below, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.